Hey, folks, welcome to the latest Denny Artachi Show podcast. I have a very special guest today. We've Miss Ellen Murphy.
Hello.
Ellen we're becoming very good friends, and I wanted to have you on the show because I like to interview different walks of life. It's not just about finance or music for me, although, as you see, I'm getting ready for the Blues Festival.
Yes.
Later on today I was invited to, but...
Tell us about it.
Well, no, let's first talk about you. People know enough about me. No. Folks, Ellen does a few things that are interesting. Number one, you are a yoga instructor, and you do the Bikram hot yoga, right?
I do, yeah.
So what got you into doing that?
I'd have to say probably out of a reaction to just want to relax, think more clearly, make better choices, not be so emotionally based. So that was definitely, I was raising my son solo and in a very sort of stressful position, selling in New York City, pharmaceuticals, medical devices. So it was a lot. So it was a reaction to just wanting to change my life and my mindset.
So here you were, you're selling pharmaceuticals.
Yeah.
The grind of sales, taking rejection every day, a single mom. And you said, whoa, I've got to mellow out here, and alcohol and drugs ain't going to do it.
Exactly. Totally.
So you got into the yoga. But,
I did.
I think many people should get into meditation and yoga.
Yeah, totally.
And I believe in that, as you know. I gave you a copy of my book. I'm out there
love
myself. Type
Great
A personality.
Book. Tell them the name of the book.
The book is Thoughts to Live By.
It's excellent, by the way.
Thank you. I'll pay you later on, my payroll. So, but the thing about yoga is you actually get exercise from it, but it practices breathing correctly. That's where it starts, right?
It is all about the breath. Matter of fact, the more you can just drive all the awareness, everything into slowing down the breath. Deep, low, long, slow flow of that energy, the breath. Your poses are sort of secondary, right? Because then your body will just gently sort of open up when it's time. Because truly every day is a different day, especially on the mat. So, yeah.
Yeah, my goodness, you keep talking like that. People will pay money just to hear you speak,
Well, we talked about that.
That's right. You've done voiceover work, right?
Yes, absolutely. That's our next business.
I'm kind of the thoughts I'm thinking may not be what you want to do, but all kidding aside, here's what I believe. This world is getting so crazy by the nanosecond, and people need to look for things like yoga and meditation to relax.
Yeah.
Half the time when I drive, I don't even have the radio playing. I want to quiet my mind.
Yes.
But
it's beautiful.
It sounds great in theory, but how does a person get into yoga? What should they do? Are there videos that they can do online?
Right.
Should they go to... And you have a studio in Jupiter, right?
Great. It's a great question. So I teach at Hot Yoga Jupiter.
Okay.
Yeah. And but for, people listening outside of the Southern Florida area.
Yes.
Just really, I know with hot yoga, particularly, and most yogas, it is designed towards a beginner series. So you just kind of do what you can do until, you feel more acclimated. It's actually once you sort of get through that tightness of the initial first 3 sessions, it actually becomes a little bit more natural. And like I said, if you're just driving all the awareness into the breath, it really does sort of open up. You just have to figure out, I think the bigger question is figure out what kind of yoga that you like. Because there's many different kinds.
Exactly. There's the next question. I attended a couple of yoga classes where I swear that instructor was out to kill me. Okay. I am not
they weren't.
Yes, they were. They were coming up with these, hey, get in this position. And no, I'm a linebacker. I'm not 140 pounds.
I get it. That's why.
And then there's some that actually, my chairs, that actually are less stressful, for lack of other words. They want you to focus on the breathing. I think most people think of yoga like, oh my God, yeah, let me just tune out and relax and chill out.
Yes.
But there's some yoga that's pretty intense, isn't it?
Well, we may have touched on this on our last when we did the radio
When
show.
did the radio, yes.
Yeah, but just I think that in order to get to that peace, there's really no way. You can't just get to Zen. You sort of have to push your body in a way that you're really putting that strain on the muscles, the organs, the compression, to then, when you push your body in that way, it releases that, high-speed, fresh oxygenated blood, and it dives into the parasympathetic nervous system, which releases all those nice hormones and chemicals that then relax you. Because, that's why they tell you to even meditate first thing in the morning before, when your brain is in a different, state, before all the activity and the stimulation of the day.
Do you want to look at any of your fans? Because, we're filming this. We're going to post this.
Okay.
Do you have a website?
I'm interested in looking at you.
I understand that. We're living in the moment. Do you have a website?
I do. I do
is
have a
your
website.
What is
So it's Yoga Now 365.
Okay.
Yes. And then I'll obviously provide my number and everything else that we need. Yeah.
Tell them your number.
Okay. It's 561-319-3661. And I'm all mobile. So that was sort of out of reaction with people didn't want to necessarily, during COVID, God, we're through with that.
I'm not so sure. I think they want COVID to last another 200 years. Because
With or without the mask.
I'm not sure. Because, and the thing is, I know you and I, again, we're becoming pretty good friends, and I really
Right.
appreciate,
Right.
we talk about different things, and it's so horrible what's going on in the world today
I
with the
know.
Ukraine situation and
goodness,
everything.
yeah. Totally
But I try
praying
and
for
tell
them.
people that you can only focus on what you can do to change things. And you stated something very important, in my opinion. When you first get up every day, those first 10 minutes are crucial.
Aren't they?
What kind of day are you going to have? What kind of day do you want
Love it.
to have for yourself?
Yes.
Do you want to shut down all the noise? It still boggles my mind how much TV people watch.
Yeah.
I mean, we're
Right.
talking hours upon hours of the day.
Right. Or even the news, which can
And
be
the
so
news,
toxic.
yes. Right, yes.
And
specifically.
misinformed as well. Like
Right.
perhaps
yeah.
not even the truth. Right. Yeah.
Do you, I know this is
Yeah.
going to come from left field, but you're
Yes.
so calm and all that. Do you ever really, do you become unhinged at any time? Or are you just one of those yogis that don't let things get to them?
I certainly become unhinged,
Okay.
so
I would
Always-
hope to think so.
always new layers and levels that you're trying to
Right.
become a little bit better and improve and say, oh gosh, how could I have reacted in a different way? Because, it's interesting, they do say trauma gets trapped in your reactions to things. So if we can then work on our reactions to things, then that's really the gateway to some big shifts in your life.
Well, I certainly am a work in progress. I have my moments, but it's only because I'm you get the real me. I'm not
Right.
pretending to be someone
I
else.
love it. Right.
And then so sometimes if you're human and you see stuff that's terrible or someone behaving terribly, I'd like to be more like Buddha, but I haven't mastered that yet. Where someone
has?
Well, there are a few, but the problem is most people, in my opinion, don't do yoga. They don't meditate. They don't take time to stop stimulating their brain with all the caca that's out there.
Yeah.
And what happens is you snap. You go
Yeah.
postal. We read, not you, I'm saying people in general. You read about them in the newspaper. You see them on the news because they never took the time. Here's the other thing, too. I believe you have to be physically active. You
Yes.
cannot be mentally happy and secure unless you're doing stuff to improve your body.
Yes.
Get the endorphins going, breathing.
Totally.
And people miss that.
Absolutely.
They don't take, it could be as little as 15 minutes a day that you dedicate to that.
I think this is so interesting because I was doing some research on the flow state,
Yeah.
and everybody's under this conception that we're not using enough of our brain. There's all this untapped reservoir brain cells that we're not using. Actually, in your flow state, you're using less of it because you are just in action. And that's when you flow, when you're not thinking,
Right.
when you're just sort of on, don't get me started, God's purpose. You know,
Hey,
when you're
you-
in the will of God, you are in flow, and then you're using less energy towards the things that maybe will make you perhaps spin your wheels, and more into your true purpose and more into that flow state.
That reminds me, I will get you started because I am a man of faith. If
God
it
bless
wasn't
you.
for God, I would be nuts.
Yeah.
Because this world, you know, think about it. If more people had faith in their life,
Yeah.
they would know that, well, God has a purpose. It's going to work out.
Yeah.
Let me just get focused on my activity, my attitude, and my own personal energy. Because, you know, things may not always be as they seem. And so if we
Yes.
know that there's a greater God out there and you have faith and you put it in his hands, I think less people will be so angry like they are out there.
Right.
I don't hear
agree.
too many people of faith going up on a tower and picking people off with an automatic rifle or stuff. It just doesn't happen.
Yeah.
And so I think that's, you know, very important. Now, you have your studio, but you also do lessons.
Yeah.
You're also a Reiki healer.
I am.
Now that, folks, if you don't know what Reiki is, it's
Yeah.
actually healing by touching someone.
It can be hands on or hands off. I do a little bit of
How
both.
do you do
but
how do you do it with hands off?
it's just so we know we've talked about this, and it's such a great entree into what we just we're discussing
Yeah.
with the power of God. Well, we know that everything is energy.
Right.
You know, this material, our flesh, you know, these are just things that we perceive in the 3D world. But we know there's this perfect divine alignment in the planet, how the planet just functions so perfectly, you know, even animals, insects, how energy, sun, food grows. So we know that everything is energy, right?
Right,
That when
yes.
the earth spins on its tectonic plates, it's all energy, and there's a divine order. So it's just natural healing through energy. And, you know, choose your healer wisely. They have to actually do their own work as well. For me, I have to, you know, sit in meditation every day, and I have to constantly cleanse and check in and become a clear vessel, a clear conduit, so then I can heal you. And really, I just try to find, like in yoga, we move our own energy, but as you know, Reiki, if you're getting a Reiki healing session, which we will do that. We're going to do that soon. I can't
You're
wait.
describing an empath here, you know, someone who absorbs
Yes.
your pain. That's kind of like what
We
it
do.
is.
We do. We literally, and then we focus a lot on the energy fields, which,
You know,
You
there's
know-
probably some people listening going, yeah, I don't believe in all that mumbo jumbo. Just like, you know, it's funny. We've discussed this and kind of chuckled about it.
Yes.
Where people say, well, I don't believe in God because you can't prove to me that he exists.
Yeah.
And then we say, yeah, but you can't prove to me that he doesn't exist.
Exactly.
And so when you look at all the great things in this world that has happened in the universe, you want me to believe it just randomly happened and there's no evidence of superior being behind it. And, you know, if you look at our DNA and our cell structure and just so much, yeah, I can't prove that he exists, but you can't prove to me that he doesn't exist.
it's true. And then I think we were discussing this too. It's like, you know, I think that everyone sort of believes that possibly there was, you know, this Big Bang theory where
Right.
everything was completely disrupted. Mm-hmm. So then I always say, well, then how did things get in such perfect divine order that the bees then pollinate flowers that then provide our food? How, if there was this Big Bang theory of chaos, did everything become so perfectly aligned after that? And how do you explain that?
Exactly. And here's what they say. A lot of them say, well, if God exists, how could he allow so much, you know, misery and terror and bloodshed in the world?
Yeah.
And it's
Yes.
free will.
Absolutely.
He gave us free will.
He is, you know, if
And
there
he-
is this idea of divine unconditional love,
Yeah.
then of course it would be free will.
It would be free
I
will.
would never restrict your choices if I
Right.
divinely and unconditionally love you. Yes.
And
There's no
here's the-
judgment, right, in that.
That's right. That's right. I've met some atheists that are really nice people.
Amazing. Yeah.
Amazing.
Oh, that's not even
And
a
I
discussion,
think,
of course.
and then they get it, and it is all about energy, because even Einstein said energy cannot be destroyed. It just manifests itself and goes, somewhere else. But so a lot of what you do with the yoga and the Reiki and the healing
and meditation
and the meditation, you're more of a personal coach. Yeah.
I would think.
And that's a big change from selling pharmaceuticals.
Sure.
Trying to feed your kid growing up.
Right.
Where were you, in New York doing this?
Yeah, well, I was in New Jersey.
New Jersey.
I had my territory was like from New York to, actually, at some point, I had the whole northeast corridor down into Washington at one point. So, yeah.
I'm telling you, we have to figure out to get that business where people call it and listen to your voice.
We were talking about that.
Voice.
Yes.
Keep it clean, guys, okay? Let's not get all crazy. But this is important because these are other methods that people can relax with without the usage of alcohol and drugs.
Because that's sure not sustaining, right?
It's not.
That's never happy or fun in the morning, right?
Oh, my God. I was just telling Brian, it's been a while since I've had a hangover, and I'm so proud of myself. And this weekend, I'm going to make a personal bet and stick to coffee while everyone else is, because I've had my moments. Look, I played in iconic bands.
I know.
Everywhere you go, people want to buy you drinks. They say, hey, try this funny tobacco. You'll feel great.
Right.
And the problem is what you're talking about, the natural healing, there is no hangover.
Yeah.
There's no chemical imbalance.
Right.
And you don't turn into someone who's angry.
Well, and, and take the religion out of it, sort of, if you can even do that, just to kind of be ultra logical here, things, materialism, things of the body, things that we're constantly seeking pleasure, they really aren't sustaining. And I think if you've been on this earth long enough, you sort of come to find that, well, that never brought me any real peace or joy. And it all flows back into what we were saying about energy, because, it all is sort of, I think anything that's truly sustaining is, it's sort of invisible, right? This energetic field that, I feel that we all came from, that joy and that peace is available to all of us, but it's all the sensations of the world. And this is what we do in meditation, that we block out to really get to that, to know that there is a joy in that reservoir on the inside.
On the inside,
that you can tap into. We were talking about the 4 things, right?
Right.
That in that lecture series that I attended.
Yes,
that
with
Denny
Coach Peterson. Yes.
Yes.
Oh, my God.
Amazing, right? These are 4 little nuggets that we can all live by.
I recite them for everyone listening, because I'm drawing a blank on it.
No, it's okay.
The first one was
create your own energy. Because, we wake up in the morning, we have those mornings where we're like, I don't want to do today.
So, folks,
I don't want to do me anymore,
What she's talking about is Coach Peterson, who coached the Philadelphia Eagles and beat the GOAT, Tom Brady, in the Super Bowl.
Unbelievable.
They had so many. He was a guest at Christ Fellowship.
Yes.
And he, something on your lip here.
Thank you. You're so sweet.
Oh.
Is it off?
It's gone.
Magic.
I don't want people to think that you bit into something.
Thank you.
So he was
probably
talking
came
about
from my thermos. Yeah.
He was talking about the Eagles that year had so many injuries. They lost their first string quarterback.
Yes.
Who winds up winning. So the first thing he taught his team was, number 1, create your own energy.
Create your own energy.
And that's what we're talking about.
Yes.
Number
all energy.
2, eliminate all distractions.
Allow no distractions. Absolutely.
This is paramount. People in my business, for example, I was just talking to my executive vice president, she's amazing. And people allow distractions to get in the way of their activities.
100%.
You cannot control results in life, folks. Yes. You have to only control your activity and getting rid of distractions. Number 3, he says, get rid of fear.
Yes,
fear nothing.
Fear nothing.
Fear nothing. That's another thing that keeps people back.
Yes.
You know how many people would love to do something, but they're so afraid that they will fail. Failure is necessary for success.
Totally.
There is not one successful person in this planet that didn't fail more times than the average person.
Absolutely.
And so the last one he talks about was attack everything. So what does that mean, folks?
Yeah.
That means it's not one horse that's going to win the race, to think metaphorically.
Yeah.
You have to have several horses in a race.
Agreed.
So I think that's great, and
Yeah.
we believe in that, and having a purpose. Life is a grind. It's not meant to be easy.
It's not. But and isn't that, we've talked about this before,
Yeah.
because we're really aligned on many topics, but that challenge, those obstacles, are what really opens all the new doors.
Yeah.
If we don't succumb to, low self-worth and, like you were saying, being afraid to fail.
Yeah.
And if we don't let that sort of eat our soul, those challenges to come, sort of overcome those obstacles, and they're sort of all in our mind. We become our own worst enemy.
Now, I consider you successful on many levels.
Thank you.
And it's got to be tough, I would say, for a female in today's world still. Because there are a lot of men out there that, it's so funny. Most of my best clients are females. And I didn't do that intentionally.
I know, I love that. You told me this. Yes, I love that.
Because they have a different perspective. This is not to say, us guys, I don't know, that maybe there's less men that are in touch with themselves, and maybe they're intimidated by females becoming more successful, but your perspective is important in this world. And
Yes.
when you were selling in pharmaceuticals, and even with this business do you still run across the old boys club mentality when it comes to business?
Well, not as much anymore.
Good.
But, it's like, I think the theme of everything we're saying now, as your perspective shifts,
Yes.
your world shifts.
Yes. You have to be open to it. Yes.
And for many years I did, and it was just like we were saying, overcoming those, we're filled with darkness and light. And that can just be a darkness, that fragility, those vulnerabilities. And it's our job. We were just talking about that in your office. It's our job to then say, okay, how am I playing into this mindset, And for me, I pray on that. Please kill deep down what is a misperception in myself. Please take it, because I understand, discerning the voice between a true illusion and the truth.
A lot of people don't want the truth. They just want to validate their perception. You see, and me, I am questioning myself most of the time because my whole goal in life, I have a few visions for me personally.
Yeah.
Number one, I want a life of service.
Yes.
I want to enlighten other people, be it entertainment-wise, with their finance, their well-being. And I think that's what a life worth living. When you have a life of service, so to speak.
Yes.
Because certainly I've met many mentors in my life that shared their wisdom with me. And if you read the old Marcus Aurelius quotes and people that lived thousands of years ago, technology can change, a lot of things can change, but the human brain and mindset, that doesn't change much.
Yeah.
So I think it's important for people to remember the basics and ground themselves. Get out of your own way, for Christ's sake.
Sure. Get out
Now,
of your own way.
Before I forget, you had an interesting, because you've been back to Florida for what?
About a year and a half.
About a year and a half.
Yeah.
Tell everybody you were traveling around Europe, Vietnam.
Yes.
Why did you do it? How
Yes.
long did you do it? And what was your take on it?
Yeah. So I did it for close to 5 years.
Oh, my God.
And it was really taking the yoga and the Reiki meditation at the time was really in the background, because I was raising my son, and I was
Did he
in
go
sales.
with you?
So he graduated from University of Pittsburgh, and 3 weeks later he found himself in Australia.
Okay.
So really that was a big incentive too, because even if I, didn't see him often, I didn't want to be, 6 continents away. So that did help.
So you followed him to Australia?
So no, I actually started out in Bali, because
Okay.
the Australians vacation in Bali. I knew it wasn't too terribly far. Like I said, I didn't need to see him often, but it was just a peace of mind thing. So plus Bali is amazing, and, to kind of teach yoga and actually.
But what made you decide, hey, you know what? I'm going to try something different. I'm going to travel around the world.
Exactly.
And you were going out to
Yes.
teach Reiki and yoga.
Reiki, yoga, and then in Bali, ended up doing some philanthropic work. We started the Bali Center through a church group there, which helped Indonesian children speak English, which is a whole gateway to sort of change their life, business and
Really?
economics and commerce. Oh,
Hey,
yeah. I mean, it's a third world country.
How poor were some of these
Oh,
spots?
goodness.
Did it make you want to cry sometimes?
100%.
Yeah.
And can I tell you how joy-filled those people are?
They don't think they're missing anything, do they?
They're first of all, their country is exquisitely beautiful. Their food is amazing. They're really family-oriented.
Yeah, they don't have McDonald's or preservatives in the
They actually
corner.
do, but it's not to the extreme that we do. Exactly. Not to the heavy extreme. And,
Hey, that's another thing too. Our American diet is killing us, isn't it?
oh, my goodness. Yes.
I mean, for real.
Yes. For
You-
real.
You know, that's why the drug companies are in business.
I know.
So many people don't understand that healing starts with exercising and eating well.
Yeah.
I'm going through, as you know, my problems with my spine and everything.
I know.
And I've been focusing on eating better and trying to eat less inflammatory foods.
Exactly.
And that's another reason why I'm
Exactly.
staying away from the booze. So
Yeah.
back on track.
How
So
are you
you're-
feeling, by the way?
I'm feeling
okay?
better. I'm not
Thank God.
where I need to
Yes.
be, but it's an improvement, and I thank God for it.
Exactly.
The first
You're
month
getting
I
there.
was in such excruciating pain. I was not a joy to be around.
Right.
It's because I don't understand how they help horses, animals, a human. Oh, you're in pain? Well, I'm not going to give you pain meds because you'll be hooked and you'll sue me and put me out of business.
Right.
Whatever. Don't get me started on that trend. But you're around these countries.
Yeah.
You're teaching this. We talked about. It's interesting. The European lifestyle. They don't care about capitalism, making money. Their whole thing, and not saying that that's for me because that kind of leans towards socialism and stuff. But their whole mindset is, let me have a roof over my head, food on the table.
Certainly.
Right? It's a whole different mindset.
Definitely a different mindset. Yeah. Yeah.
And so you did that for almost 5 years.
Yeah. So I was started out in Bali, then I
Bali.
was in Thailand. Then I was in Europe. I went to Austria. I taught in Austria. And then Ireland. Spent some time in Germany and Singapore as well. So
Wow.
yeah. It was great, and it was a time to change my life. My son was gone and graduated college, and I had the space and time to do it. It's not for everybody. A lot of people don't have that advantage to do that, or benefit to.
Were obviously you were able to make a living somehow.
It was really good. Well, I also liquidated everything I owned before I left, so that was good. That helped. Wow. I had a home and a couple cars, so it worked out. Yeah.
You really
Yeah.
this was a spiritual journey for you.
It was. And then I went to India and I got deeper into my meditation. I had some additional training there. And it was great. It was amazing. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Really, really good. But to circle back to your, when
Yeah.
you were saying about your pain, it's kind of full circle what we're talking about, because you were saying that sort of Western model doesn't work. And, this is kind of what I'm trying to do, is educate people on how we have that deep ability within our own body to heal ourselves. Like you said, beautiful quote, we've got to get out of our way.
Got to get our own way.
I mean,
and a lot of it is down to having a clean life.
Yes.
Eating healthy foods.
Yes.
Drinking enough water.
Yes.
And exercising.
Yes.
Here's the problem. And I talked about this with my executive vice president.
Yeah.
She's just a wonderful. I'm lucky that she's part of this organization.
Amazing.
So many people want a quick fix for everything. And that's just not how life works.
It's true.
People get rich on pitching that, hey, take this pill or get this book, and in 30 days, you're going to have all your problems solved.
Absolutely.
And that's just not how it is. And you have to have that mindset. You have to have faith. I think, unfortunately, many people get caught up with having unrealistic expectations.
Yeah.
And they're afraid of hard work.
Yeah.
Instead of embracing the hard work that is necessary to achieve any goal there is. Now, what you're preaching on the yoga and the meditating,
And the Reiki,
I don't,
yeah.
I don't think that's hard work, but it may be hard work for people who are not patient enough to go through the process.
Right. Right. But I firmly believe if you can and you're willing, there is a way that you can absolutely get yourself out of at least a portion of your pain and be on your way to more sustainable healing, not quick fixes or something that's maybe going to reoccur, but it's going to definitely take longer. But I believe it's there, Again, it goes back to that energy.
Yeah.
It's all available to us.
And what you focus on.
Are you familiar with Dr. Joe Dispenza?
No. I'm
Okay. So I'm reading a book right now, Becoming Supernatural by him, but I've been a big follower for years. But he talks about the same concept, that everything is energy and everything is available to us in the quantum field, kind of backing up what Einstein already proved, that everything is available to us. He was actually got in a really bad accident, and they told him he'd never be able to walk again. And 8 months later, he was walking, and he's physically perfect, all through meditation.
Wow.
All through meditation.
Here's the thing. You have to be open. People don't read anymore. Mm-hmm. They don't. I shouldn't say all. I hate to label everyone, but a vast majority do not read or take a time to. They want to be entertained either by television or whatever the situation is. And we've discussed this. There's many times I haven't been bored, and it's got to be at least 20 years. I can't remember the last time I was bored. Mm-hmm. Because I'm so busy, I look for times when there's nothing to do.
Yes.
Where I don't have to file a report, do this, make a call. I love my clients, don't get me wrong. But I need, at the end of the day, to carve back some time for myself. Now, I will tell you, this injury that has happened to me recently,
yes,
I kind of believe, it sounds crazy, that it was a godsend, and I'll tell you why. Yeah. I was rolling, things were great, I was feeling good, I was working out all the time. As far as I'm concerned, I didn't have anything to worry about. And all of a sudden, I got injured so bad, I was not able to play the guitar anymore.
Yeah.
Able to exercise, play golf. Now,
lost a little part of your life. Yeah.
Poor me. There's people in their deathbed in the hospital dying of cancer, so it's all relative, folks.
Sure.
However bad you think you have it, there's someone who has it worse than you.
Right.
And there's someone who figured out a way to overcome the obstacle. So I'm trying to get to a point. It kicked me off my high horse.
Yeah.
And I was in such pain, and I had all these things removed from me that it brought me to my knees to pray to God to help me through this.
Right.
And it has, and I'm on the road to recovery. But a lot of times you have to have bad things happen to you to test your faith.
Yeah, we were talking about earlier.
To reach out, not for the booze or the drug or the, poor me, or go on the anger tirade.
Or it could be any addiction, right?
It
Food,
could be
it could be relationships,
right. Food,
it could be
relationships, right?
Anything,
And so what happened was I then appreciated, boy, I'd like to go through a day without pain. That was my first 30 days. That was my goal. I couldn't, I would say for about 45 days straight, I had excruciating pain every day.
Wow.
Now it's more of a discomfort.
Yes.
And so
good.
I had to reach out for other ways to deal with it. And that's what you're talking about. And a lot of, we need more people like you, because I really believe that too many people just want to take medications and a short, quick fix to whatever's ailing them in life. And it could be physical impairment, it could be financial, it could be your relationships, it could be your faith. If you reach out and seek holistic ways to find the solutions, they will happen.
I agree, but it is really, if you're willing and if you create that space in your life where you're willing to just sort of surrender. And, often, like I said, we get to that point when we're sort of hit our bottom a bit.
Right.
You're willing to surrender and understand and have faith that there is this deep, resilience inside of you, this deep tenacity. And that's where the healing really does lie. And it can be done. It can be done quite naturally. Like I was reciting that book, he literally just, with the visual of piecing every part of his body together, because I think every part of his body was broken, he literally visually, with the mind, pieced all the parts together and gets so many of his bones. It's so powerful.
So every day he would.
Yes.
This is kind of like the oldest message,
Yeah.
as you think, so shall you be.
Right.
And you program your brain.
You have to program your
You
brain.
think about, I say in my book, the problem is most people focus on things that they don't want or
Yes.
don't like about themselves.
Right.
And the brain doesn't know whether you want something or not.
Completely.
It just keeps giving you more of what you're focusing on.
It's 100%. 100%.
And so there have been documented cases of these people who programmed their brain into healing their bodies.
Absolutely.
But it was
Document
work.
it, yes.
They did it every day. They believed it to be true.
100%.
You know,
before anything.
Before anything.
Before anything.
That's the scary part about sociopaths, right? You see sociopaths, they believe whatever they believe to be true, it's their reality.
That's hilarious. Yes.
But it's kind of true, isn't it?
Right.
They've tapped into that reservoir like, well, wait a minute, Clem, all I got to do is think about this and it's true. I don't mean to make fun of Southern people because us New Yorkers are just as nuts as everyone else.
Oh, right. Yes.
But that's kind of along the same lines.
Yes.
And so and believe me, as successful as I've been, I have my moments where I'm like, dude, you are just a loser. What are you doing? And
it's a battle.
I think
It's
it's
a battle.
because, if you have high standards for yourself, I don't. Honestly, I do, but I don't care what people think about me because it's none of my business what they think about me. It's my business of what I think about me. 100%. And that's where it all starts.
100%.
And that's the problem with many relationships, you see.
100%.
Which, by the way, guys, can you believe this is she is beautiful inside and outside.
Thank
I am
you.
not kidding. She
Thank
really
you.
is. But that may intimidate a lot of guys.
Who knows?
You don't know what it is. Well,
Who knows?
well, you can't. It's not like you're going to go out and talk about football, right? So they're going to have to tap into the cerebral thing,
Yeah.
right? It's funny when you and I
Definitely,
when I
they'd have to
call
do
you
that,
and
yeah.
we're both busy. I loved your messages. You're like, you leave me a message. I love this. We're so busy, we can't even talk to each other. We have to leave each other messages because you're doing your yoga and then you had your. Are you still with that one company that that does natural healing?
Well, I decided to go out on my own. So,
Okay, all
but
right.
still use them, for referrals and
Okay.
yeah.
So
Yeah.
how do we promote? Let's tell people how they can get a hold of
Okay.
you.
Best way is the most direct way is just call or text me 561-319-3661. Email is alignyoga52 ALIGN yoga YOGA 52 @gmail.com. So that's the most direct.
Okay.
Yeah.
And if they want to call you to take you out to dinner, or what do you think?
I don't know about that.
Well, they may tell you they're
So.
interested in yoga first,
Yeah.
and then when you're sitting there, I got this private lesson you're doing, but I kind of wanted to talk about. No, not going to happen.
Yeah. I had
All right.
some
Relationships are
couple
hard.
clients.
Listen,
Yeah.
relationships are hard for many reasons, especially if you're busy trying to build something. Think about it. If you are an entrepreneur, there are not enough hours in a day. You're not punching a clock. You don't have to show up and do your 40-hour week.
Absolutely.
So you have to, and a lot of times that's tough with relationships.
Yes.
Because
Yes.
if you're both busy,
Yeah.
when do you have time for the typical white picket fence dinners at 6 o'clock stuff?
Right. And we certainly have no time for the BS. That is for certain.
Oh my God, the BS. Yeah,
That's
always the best, right?
another show.
Well, right, the whole dating thing too, which is it's kind of like interviewing for a job, right?
Oh,
and
gosh.
so it's like,
I hope not.
well,
Yeah.
now that you've liked this person and I have you, let me show you what I'm really like.
Oh, God. 100%. Yes.
It's out there? Okay.
I think so.
But,
Yeah.
I think it's tougher for women because men are aggressive by nature. I mean, didn't you at a young
It's a little
age
weird.
didn't you figure out like, oh my goodness, there's guys, I can't go to the grocery store or go to the drugstore without some guy
Oh, my poor
asking me out or something?
son. I'm sure he used to see. Oh, I think
What?
about it now, and I like
Why?
cringe.
What's wrong with
Because
your
I'm
son?
sure, like he was. I had him so young, and I'm sure, like as a small person growing up, he probably like saw all these just like
Oh, while you
gross
were with him, yes.
people, and like I just say, sorry, babe. My heart goes out because sometimes, as
Yeah.
women, we're oblivious.
Yes.
But now I realize, that must have been a catastrophe. Probably wanted to like hit some people every time we went to the mall,
I really think any relationship, if you're going to have sustainability,
Yes.
the attraction has to be between the earlobes. The physical's easy.
Completely.
The physical, of course.
Yes.
Everyone likes that. I mean,
Right.
there's certain people that you're attracted to or not attracted to. But at the end of for me, because
Right.
I'm a weird freak in nature, so try not to be like me, okay? But for me, it is the stimulus of the conversation and
Right.
the energy.
Totally.
And like, wow, this person, they got it going on mentally. I can talk to them about anything.
Right.
And that's like as exciting, if actually more exciting than the perfect figure, so to speak.
I agree.
Yeah, because
I
look,
agree. And that takes a while to get there as well, right?
yeah, but when I was
You know?
younger, I was good looking. Now I have to rest on my smart aleck comments
And your musical abilities.
exactly.
I'm so
right.
excited about your weekend.
My weekend.
Who are you
is-
playing with?
Well, here's the thing. I'm not quite sure because
Excellent.
I'm going tonight with the president of the South Florida Blues Society, and it's his birthday. And
I love
we're going
it.
to. I've never been to the West Coast.
Very cool.
Here's the thing: when I was invited to go, I was still very injured. I didn't know. Ellen, I seriously thought I could never play the guitar again.
Oh my gosh.
For about a month.
How did that make you feel? That's wow.
Yeah, it made me reach out to God.
Yeah.
I've had a few things in my life that, I'm an ex-military person.
Mm-hmm.
I've like everyone else, my childhood was not picture perfect.
Of course not.
But I decided long ago, and I'm still a work in progress, to focus on it's not what happens to you in life, but how you deal with it. It's hard when you have a lot of people pulling on your cape
Yeah.
and draining you with their negative caca.
Yes.
Because, folks, if you got to wake up today and you're relatively healthy, you have it better than so many people out there.
Totally.
But if you don't believe me, go to a cancer ward in a hospital and see if there's anybody who would love to trade positions with you. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I don't want to get too dark and gloomy, lugubrious.
Good word. Wow.
But that's the truth. So I didn't know whether I would be able to, but I'm going to. And here's the thing. I'm going to Memphis. I think we talked about this, how God is unbelievable.
Mm-hmm.
I was supposed to go in January to compete.
It's amazing timing.
And that week that I was supposed to leave is when this injury happened to me. I don't know how. So think about my hairs
I know.
are raising.
Mine too.
If Memphis was not canceled because of COVID,
Right.
I would not have been able to have compete.
Right.
Something that I worked so hard for.
Right.
And so that made me say, oh my God, you're trying to tell me something, aren't you?
Backstep, right?
Right.
To then move 50 steps
So
ahead.
today I'm going to go to one of the biggest blues festivals in the country. There's going to be national artists.
So excited.
I'm going to be backstage, VIP, and I'm going to play at some of the before and after hour parties.
I can't wait to see it.
And I'm trying to get ready for Memphis.
Great.
I'm very happy about the group that I'm with now. We finally we're together. I had a few lineup changes because it's so hard to find musicians on the same page.
Oh, gosh.
For many reasons.
Terribly
I don't
challenging.
do this for a living. I decided long ago, people know my story. I was with famous bands.
I know.
The whole lifestyle
I
and
love
everything.
your pictures back here of all your
thank
people
you.
you were with, Jimmy Page, and yeah.
Yeah, what happened
Amazing.
to that guy?
Gosh.
He was good looking, man. I don't know what happened to
Oh,
him.
please, you still
So with all that, I have my company, but a lot of musicians, they have it tough because this is what they make a living with. Mm-hmm. They have to take every gig to pay their light bill. And I knew years ago I didn't want that for me.
Sure.
Because you know what? It gets in the way of the artistry.
Yes. Agreed.
I want to just play music that is meaningful. So that's where I'm at. I know the festival will be great. I'm going to try
It's
and
gonna be
stick to
amazing.
coffee and everything.
Yes.
Because the
It's a
party,
better look.
they've already warned me. They said, well, make sure you sleep before you come up.
Oh, gosh.
So I think they're warning me. But I'm
Yes.
looking forward to it. You know, I will tell you something. I've been around a lot of musical scenes, and the blues community is an amazing community.
Right? I'm sure it's
They're
so
just-
tight-knit.
It really is.
You really experience it.
Yes.
You feel it.
I've been in top 40 situations. I've been in the rock. There's something about and this journey started for me I'm going to say about 3.5 years ago.
So
I
good.
went to a jam,
Right.
and I met the president of the guy I'm going with today. And this is his first trip since he lost his wife of
Wow.
40 years.
This weekend coming
Yes,
up.
yeah.
Oh, goodness.
So we're really good friends. He's the one who saw in me and got me involved in this. Because I never thought I'm going to do I always loved blues music, but I never
Right.
thought this is the direction I would go.
Right.
So I'm looking forward to this weekend. I know it's going to be great. And, you know.
You know, it's interesting as you're talking about music. It's like, and for all the musicians out there, I'm sure you relate, again, tying back into what we're talking about, how everything is energy, that feeling that you feel when you're in the flow.
Oh,
That is the experience. That feeling,
yeah.
and it's hard to describe, and
it's a gift from God.
that's that same
When you're not
vibe.
thinking and you're just performing and improvising, even though I'm a structured guy,
Totally.
I really believe in leaving. Like, look, this is an unscripted,
Totally.
great podcast that we're doing. I'm enjoying. I hope I know my listeners
Yes.
are enjoying your take on slowing down, the meditation thing, and
Self-healing.
yeah, if more people did that, we'd have a lot less anger. And I don't know, call me naive, but I dream and hope someday that we get back to talking with each other and not
Yes.
at each other. The rhetoric, I don't talk a lot of politics. I really don't, because people are emotionally charged. I do say that I'm unapologetically a conservative Republican. Why? Because they tend to have Christian faith, responsible fiscal policies. But this doesn't mean I hate someone who's a liberal.
No,
or,
just a little bit more conservative.
Yeah,
That's all.
exactly,
Yeah,
right.
I
That's
get it.
all.
Yes.
And I welcome anything that's different. But ultimately, we love our country. We all want a good life.
Yeah.
We don't want to exploit anybody.
Totally.
We don't want to take advantage of anybody.
Totally.
But we need
If anything, we only seek to help. Our desire is seeking to help.
At the end of the day, we the people make this country great, not our leaders.
Yeah,
It's how we
true.
talk to each other.
Absolutely.
So-
and what we do for each other. Yes.
So, it's just a dream of mine that hopefully we can get back to, but I don't know.
yeah.
So
Hold the hope.
you're working on your private clients, and you've got the Reiki.
You've
And
got the Reiki, meditation, do a bit of a massage. The Thai yoga is sort of intuitive for me.
Yeah.
And that's kind of a deeper tissue.
you
massage.
don't watch much news, do you?
I don't because I can't. My constitution doesn't support it.
You can't.
Because it's very overwhelming.
You can only
Yes.
desensitize yourself so much, right?
Right. And I think the more that we sort of move away from those sensations, those heightened emotions, whatever we think our flesh is feeling, whatever's going on externally, and move into the internal sort of our own little vortex, I think the better we are for mainly ourselves, and then, of course, that reaction to that is for others.
Yes.
So-
Yes, because you know what? Panic, confusion, and hysteria is in play right now.
Fear.
It's been in play.
Yeah, been in play. Yes.
And I just want to say, hey, slow down.
yes.
Take a breath.
Right.
Hey, think about it.
Right.
I'm guilty of it myself. Believe me, I have a
We
type
all
A.
are.
I'm an
Yeah.
entertainer. I'm a speaker. Folks, I'm far from perfect. I don't want to be perfect. I like my flaws because I get to work on them.
Right. Exactly.
I'm not as good. I don't know.
No one's perfect. Yeah.
Exactly. Right. No one is. He among me without sin cast the first stone.
Right.
Please.
Right.
That's just crazy.
Exactly.
So,
Exactly.
well, I don't know. We talked about you being a more permanent guest from time to time to keep
We
me grounded.
have. We just bouncing around some ideas on
Yeah.
male-female dynamics and
Oh, we could have.
relationships, and we could give male and female advice to
Don't
interested.
do it. Don't do it. That's our advice.
Just choose wisely.
Move back with your parents.
Right.
No, we're not talking about that.
Right. Well, what we also are talking about, with 60% divorce rate. Clearly, this is
Is it
an
60%?
issue. I think it might be well over 60. This is an issue that really needs to be looked at. Like, what could we be doing differently? And is that what we were saying? Is then we do
people
the more
really-
work we do on ourselves, then it's just because relationships are really just a projection of our own stuff.
But let me ask you, if divorce is 60%,
Yeah.
why do people need to get
Might
married?
even be higher. Well, that's an interesting question. You
is,
might
right?
want
It used to
let
be-
that savor in your mouth for a moment.
It used to
Yeah.
be because if you wanted to have a child, you had to, and you wanted to have a family. But at the end of the day, we're past that. We're past. People didn't frown upon you if you weren't married by a certain age.
Yeah.
You
we're-
know,
we're
I'm
well
nuts.
through
I've
that.
never been married, so they're like, "Oh,
Me too.
what's wrong with you?" Yeah. And I go, "I'm still trying to figure out what's wrong with me. When I do, I'll send you the report, okay?" I don't know.
And that brings up an interesting point because I think people have different reasons. They want to have children. So maybe that's the reason why they do it younger.
Yes, correct.
There's different motivating factors, but all of which does not equal a happy marriage. Or, I don't know if happiness should ever be the goal of anything. Joy and peace,
But my whole point.
Joy and peace.
Okay.
Yeah.
Again, I'm not an expert in many things.
Yeah.
But it seems to me that if you want to be with someone, it will happen, and no piece of paper is going to guarantee that.
Perhaps.
It's just kind of
Perhaps.
like these people that are jealous, and they want to hold on, and they want to micromanage whatever their
Wow.
spouse is doing.
A little
And
bit of internal work
It
needs
does
to
the
be done.
opposite.
Yeah.
No
the
one's
control.
ever. I've never been the jealous type.
Yeah.
Because
Well, with the control, then you're out of control. The more you try to control, the more out of control the situation's sort of elusive and
Which that's another
falls through
podcast
your
within
hand.
itself, folks.
That really is
So that's one of the
control
things we're
and-
talking about, right?
Yes,
'Cause
yes.
We wouldn't want to talk about world events too much, would we?
Well, we can go there easily, but I think people need a little light right now because there's a lot going on, right?
I think so. I think I know that part of what I'm doing podcast-wise, like on Tuesday, I had a friend of mine who's a partner. We were talking about Medicare issues. I love what I do because I do a few things. I have my financial planning company. I've got a lot of partners.
Which is great. Your space here is lovely.
I'm part of the 501c Corp now where I'm going out to promote financial literacy.
It's
know what?
amazing. You're working with women's groups.
Yes, women's
Share
group,
that,
absolutely.
please.
And
people need to know that.
Part of that financial literacy is talking also about taking care of yourself. A lot of my clients
100%.
are staying with me not because I guarantee them the highest returns, but I coach them on, hey, what are you doing with your spending habits? Do you really need to do that? And
Right.
how's your personal life going?
Beautiful.
And because if you don't have your house in order, you're going to make bad decisions on your money.
100%.
Guarantee it. There's just no. I've
100%.
never seen someone whose life was a mess that made good financial decisions.
Yeah.
They go hand in hand.
Or usually it will follow. Like
Correct.
perhaps the collapse will follow. Yeah.
Well, because the market goes up and down. It's a
Yeah.
recipe for manic depression. So you
Right.
need someone to keep you grounded and saying, no, we're not going to panic. We're still on plan.
100%.
And listen, Mary and Joe,
Right.
stop spending so much money. You're going
Yeah.
out to eat. It amazes me that we supposedly have a bad economy and economic times, but all the restaurants are full. You have to wait in line to go eat,
Yeah.
right?
It's interesting.
Where's all that money coming from?
Well, because you don't hear this as much. It's like, okay, you're either going to, there's a couple ways, obviously doing both is the most strategic and probably has the best outcome. But what about, saving is just as powerful,
Right. Because-
as making. I mean, people
That's
tend to
right.
forget that, especially now. That used to
Yeah.
be a big thing when I was growing up.
Exactly.
It's either what you're making or what you're saving.
Exactly.
It's a huge
That's my whole
component.
point, because think about it. The generation before us, our parents and their parents, had harder times than we do.
Yeah.
We have such abundant... for me, I don't like to be cruel, but I'm part of a great organization that's surrounded by partners who are very
Right.
successful.
Tell us the name of it. Yeah.
Well, Peak Brokerage
Peak.
is my broker-dealer.
Yeah.
But I'm also part of
Really great.
Independent Solutions in the Wealth Group.
Mm-hmm.
I have my company, Artachi Financial Group. I'm surrounded by such positive people that you will never hear them use an excuse for whatever the hell is happening. You know what they all do? And I model myself around. I'm learning from them. They take responsibility for everything that's going on.
I love it.
And so when something happens, they stop what they're doing, they come up with a solution, they make a decision, and they make it work. Many people
I love it.
don't get out of their own way, and they're afraid to make a decision because, what if it's the wrong decision?
Right.
What if I make? Shut up.
Right.
What are you going to do? Sit there and cry? Come up with a solution.
Right.
I'm not saying it's easy,
It's not.
but it is simple.
But everyone can also benefit from a little guidance.
Yes.
From the expert that's nuanced and,
Yes.
you know,
And
that
so
spend their lifetime.
I
Yeah.
think it's important for everyone out there to choose who they surround themselves with wisely, because we
Yes.
all have our moments. In fact, Regina, who I introduced me to someone today,
Yeah.
she kind of tongue-in-cheek and said, he's great, but, sometimes he has some of his moments. And I was like, oh, damn, she busted me
Don't
on
we
this.
all? But I want to pick up on something that you said, which I loved, how you take full responsibility. I saw
do.
these
I
shirts.
do.
If we ever do our podcast, if you had another day, I saw these T-shirts we should wear. Everything is my fault. That's so empowering, because when we do that, really,
Right.
we then have the control
Well, here's another thing,
of our
too.
whole life.
A lot of
Right?
times people say, well, I react that way because this person did something which triggered me to feel that way. So then I go, well, so it really wasn't them, it was you. You took what they did and it reminded you of your internal stuff.
All a projection. Everything is my fault. I love that line. Because then
Are there
that gives
t-shirts
me the
made, or is
power.
that-
I saw them and I was like, they are
Well,
for
maybe
Denny
my
and
fault
I.
maybe we should change it to everything is up to me,
Yeah, that's a good one too.
right?
I thought,
His fault might be negative.
yeah, but for me that was really powerful.
It is powerful.
Because I understand how I'm perceiving it. It's the meaning that gives me power to change it. Because only I can change my life. No one else. Nothing else.
So it's my fault when I meet someone, I offer them a solution because they're drowning and they have a life raft and they have to think about it. It's my fault, right? I didn't convince them that they would do better.
What becomes your fault is just to improve next time.
Oh, that's right.
Without holding on to the past. Because the past is 5 minutes ago. We can't change it.
Okay.
So we're just constantly reinventing. I mean, our cells are constantly reinventing every minute. So why would we ever want to look back? We're becoming new every day, physiologically. So is our brain, and so is our spirit.
You see that, folks? That's why she's single. You can't handle the truth. Ellen,
That's hilarious and ironic. That makes no sense, but I love it.
it makes perfect sense.
It kind of does.
You can't handle the truth. Anyway, listen, we are going to have you back. We'll talk about it.
I love it.
I do
Yeah, I look
appreciate
forward
our
to it.
friendship and relationship.
Yeah,
and
amazing.
I know we'll do some more things together. Folks, I hope you've enjoyed this with Ellen Murphy.
Yeah.
And please tell them again how to contact you if they
Sure.
want to do,
Thank you. 561-319-3661, and I can come to your location, or actually I even do remote healing online with Reiki and yoga, and actually meditation. We could do all three. I've
Look
only
at
done
that.
yeah, we could. Or I also have a place if you were more comfortable with that. And also Yoga Now 365 is my website.
Hey, that might be too dangerous. Invite some of these people at your place.
Yeah. Oh, well, I have a part of my gym that I can use.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
It
Right.
wouldn't- Yeah.
I got to figure out how to do this for a living. Interview wonderfully enlightened people and make a living out of it.
Yeah, it sounds like you're starting.
I need it. Yeah, I am starting. Yes.
And you have your wing girl if you
I'm
want
my
to.
wing girl. So, folks,
Yeah.
make it a great day. Thanks for listening on the Denny
Yes.
Artachi Tachi Show. And
Yes.
we'll see you soon.
We love you.
We love you.
Mwah.
Thanks.
Be well.